continues to be a pleasure, of course, for African Ascent to consistently bring you first-rate programs to the best of the program's ability. The last few views have been exclusively focused on the intellectual energies and creativities of the liberal arts faculty at Berklee College of Music. As you recall, I'm sure my viewers do, this particular series, about 4 of them so far, have focused on literature and writing. My guest tonight, who is, I hope I'm not mistaken, the youngest faculty member in the liberal arts program department, rather, at Berklee College of Music, is an associate professor of art history. He obtained his BA from the University of Indiana and then pursued his interest to get a PhD in art history from the conspicuous university, should we say, Boston University in Massachusetts. His dissertation caught my eye. Its title is so mesmerizing. To take the ice. In fact, I should read it directly so that I wouldn't distort it. To take the ice in order to possess the mind. An inquiry into the patronage of Botticelli's illustrations of Dante's Commedia. As the interview begins and as we delve in deeply into the interiors of his intellectual projects, for example, I'm going to read further to my audience what some of his illustrious and bright students at Berklee College of Music say about him. But to get the program going, what I thought I'm going to ask my guest to do is to talk about teaching in a broadly gauged way. Then we're going to break it into its correspondingly relevant components. That will come much later as the interview progresses. So for now, the first question that I'm going to throw at my guest is teaching. From everything that I have read, should I call you Russ, or
Russ is perfect? Thank you.
Is that perfect? Would you allow me to do that?
Absolutely.
That's good. So, from everything that I have read, not only are you young and good-looking, also, but also a brilliant teacher. From what I read about what students have said about you, what is it that makes you so brilliant?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great honor to be here with you. I've watched several of the previous programs, and I'm very excited to be here. You know, answering why I am so brilliant is sort of a loaded question. I'll try to answer this in a different way, so I don't think that's the case. I think that what makes all teachers good teachers, or what makes good teachers, is that they love what they do. And I think that for me, I feel one of those extraordinarily fortunate humans who loves his job. And I think that you can't hide that. And so I think that students, for the most part, pick up on that energy very quickly, and that they can discern immediately whether or not the person that's in front of them is actively engaged in what they do and likes what they do or passionate about what they do. And so for me, I think that that's what I hear from my students, is that they feel seduced by the material. And I think partly because I'm trying to get them to share my own interest and passion for what I've decided to do for a living. And I think that absent or all other considerations, no matter what your discipline or no matter what your job is, that is the essential. That if you like what you do, if you're passionate about what you do, that resonates in lots of different ways to the people that are around you. So if the question was, how do you approach your teaching, or how would you define good teaching? First and foremost, it's being truly passionate about what you do, and that's something I love my job. So,
in fact, you're so right. Your sense of self, from what I've been able to glean from what you just told me, is quite consistent with what I've read in your bio. May I have the pleasure of reading what is in the bio, and then we'll use that as a basis to talk. Quoting Ross himself, art history is a required course at Berkeley, and it is just human nature for students who are here to study music to wonder how it is relevant to them. But within a week or two, they start to realize that at the core of it, what all these people were doing, whether thousands of years ago or just last week, is exactly what they are doing now. Figuring out how to channel their passion and curiosity into creating something. Furthermore, I'm a big fan of incessant curiosity. I think when students hear themselves and their colleagues articulate questions about the art we're studying, that sets up a conversational dynamic in the classroom. Students realize that they are not underqualified, to talk about art, which has a similar kind of aura that I think classical music has for a lot of non-musicians. It is a demystifying experience when students talk about art in the classroom and then in the Museum of Fine Arts. We're incredibly fortunate to be so close to the museum, and we spent a lot of time there. Finally, I would like my students to think about how art helps them understand not just their music, but also more about themselves. What are the different ways that artists since the beginning of time have sought to figure out the human condition? For Berkeley students, the idea that they can learn, be inspired and horrified, or be made curious or afraid by thinking about the visual arts is an enormous gift for them, not just as musicians, but as human beings. Fascinating. There are a few phrases that caught my attention here. One is the very central one, namely curiosity. The second one is your stress of the musician, not just as a machine who produces rhythms, harmonies, and sounds, but as a human being first, and then perhaps a musician second.